Well, and just like that, here we are. Andy Lindahl, Scott Hastings, Hot Mike. This is old school. This is like the video version of what we used to do radio podcast wise. How do you feel? Do you feel exposed?
Um, no, I'm good. Why? Got dirty socks laying around the couch where I'm sitting. I mean, it's just a regular Wednesday night, buddy.
You're entering your Duck Dynasty years with that look. You know that, don't you?
Well, yeah, I got. You know what? My daughter has had these soccer tryouts, and so as beautiful as the day is, which has been fabulous the last few days, it still becomes Colorado evenings, right? Wind
Yes.
picks up a little bit, a little chill. So all these moms are out there in their shorts and tank tops like the warden was. Daddy decided to put his long pants on and a hoodie. And by the end of practice, I was pretty comfortable.
Well, good. Yeah, it is. It's been another chilly spring, I guess they'd say. I don't know. It's been wild. I wouldn't mind.
But you know what? But Danny, you remember you lived your whole life. I came here first time I understood Colorado weather. I came here in 1979 and played in the sports festival down in Colorado Springs, and then I made a team that ended up being the first junior world championship team. And we practiced in Colorado Springs for 2 weeks at the Olympic facility down there. And every day it'd be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then we'd get about a 45-minute rain shower, just enough to cool everything down. And then it would get back to sunny again. And it almost feels like we're getting back to what it used to be. We get these beautiful days. We get a little storm. Now we had a terrible tornado, I guess, up by Fort Morgan
Really?
somewhere, right? Just a
Was that
horrible
today? We
tornado.
really last night.
But we're starting to get those. I mean, it's spring, right? I know everybody, Memorial Weekend's the start of the summer. Well, start of summer from the kids being home. But and remember last year, we didn't get a spring. It went from winter to summer.
Yeah, I do remember late June. It was cold and rainy, and because my son's birthday is around Memorial Day, depending on when Memorial Day falls, and there have been years where he's wanted to go swimming and he can't go swimming because it's just too chilly. So I remember, so I did the belly flop competition with the team up at Waterworld last year, which I think we're doing. I think I'm a part of the belly flop competition, but I think the rules are going to be different, so people keep an ear open for that. But I remember Waterworld telling me it had been so rainy and chilly they hadn't had their normal start to the season. So it look when I was growing up, when I was your age, when I was growing up here, we would have severe storms pretty much between 1 and about 4 every day, and it was sunny by the evening again. So you're right. This is a little bit more the way that it used to be. I still wouldn't mind it being just like the days when it's in the mid 70s. That's perfect. Just give me mid 70s for a bit. I don't need the 90s start until July. But anyway, by the way, so we've got a development. Scotty and I are openly rooting against the Dallas Stars. And now I don't take joy in this because it sucks when a guy gets hurt. I don't known enough athletes. I don't root for their injuries. Chris Tanev, though, has left the Dallas bench. Scotty, I told you I was watching the end of the second period, and frankly, I was getting ready to ask you, do the Avs and Oilers seem to have the same problem? Because Dallas was choking off the Edmonton offense the way it did the Avalanche offense. Tanev takes a shot off the ankle, limps his way to the dressing room, and immediately Edmonton puts in 2 goals. It was a 2-2 game. It's now 4-2 as we're starting a third. Edmonton immediately took advantage of his absence. They just about added another one as soon as he left the ice. I'm telling you, not getting Chris Tanev might be one of the bigger regrets of Avalanche trade history.
Well, listen, go ask Nathan McKinnon how big Tanev was in that series. I mean, he shut, I thought, McKinnon down for the most part of that series, and he was doing it here with Edmonton. I mean, you got to say that, right? But what a great pickup, and kind of, there should have been another goal. A guy who's not afraid to throw his body around, a guy who's nice and physical, physical play can always shut down. And I think the Nuggets felt this in Minnesota series. And Minnesota, the Mavericks haven't done that yet. But they shut them down being more physical. And I always felt, especially come playoff time, a physical team. And plus, let's be honest, the Stars can skate a little bit too,
Oh
but
yeah.
they're a big bruising team.
The Stars, to me, I think this is what I've noticed from watching this series against Edmonton and obviously the Avalanche series. I feel like the Stars do a good job of just taking the first game, engaging
Oh,
their speed against your speed, and then adjusting. And so I
yeah.
think that's one of the reasons why Edmonton was able to win, or the Stars lost both first games of those series, because they kind of let Edmonton play a little wide open, got a feel for what they were dealing with, and then made adjustments. So I really want Edmonton to beat Dallas. What do you?
Well,
Let me
another
ask you
thing,
this.
I feel this. See if you do this, and I'm not a strategist in hockey like you can be, but it feels like also Edmonton is still not afraid to attack the middle. Where I always felt like the Avs got into where they were always going down the boards to advance the ball, dump it in. It seems like Edmonton's purposely trying to make that crisp pass right to the middle of the ice, and now it's giving them an option to go left or right, and it doesn't seem as much dump hockey, which I've said forever. And if you go back and look at the last 8-10 years when the Avalanche kind of lose series, including that St. Louis series, was it 7-8 years ago when McKinnon's rookie year, they had to play that dump and chase hockey, and that's just not their style.
I agree, but I think the reason why I think you're right about that is I think McDavid and Draisaitl are both a little bit bigger guys. You know, Connor McDavid is not a small individual, so
No.
it's it's they're showing it right now. There's Tanev limping his way to the locker room, so
Well, he
that could
didn't
be a
come
big
out the start
development.
of the third.
He did not. Yeah, the bench is missing a guy, so lower body questionable to return. There's the official designation on the TV. So
Did your third period just start?
I'm at 17:03.
I was 17:07.
Well, then, okay. You're a little behind me, but not by too much. So
No.
that's weird. Normally, DirecTV's behind Comcast, but look at me.
You
I'm
know,
lucky tonight, I guess.
it's kind of funny. Not funny, but after the Avs lose and the Nuggets, a lot of fans, after the Broncos, unless you're betting heavily, or you're watching the playoffs as intently until the Super Bowl comes. But dude, I don't know. I've kind of become a fan of Edmonton a little bit, and I would have much rather played them. I think it. I tell you what, I think you'd have had a whole lot more of 7-5 games than 3-1s, 2-1s if it had been the Avalanche in Edmonton.
No, it would have been a very fun series. And I think the Avs, like, again, we might as well get into one of the topic du jours of the week. I do feel like the Avs would have had a shot against the Oilers, but I just don't know. Rangers or Florida, I don't know that the Avs had enough there, frankly.
Right.
But I feel like Edmonton plays enough of the Avs style of game. It'd have been, look, they're going up and down. I just feel like the Avs, this would have suited them well. But again, I don't know about the Stanley Cup finals, so I try not to let it bother me too much. When it comes to I know we've all talked about the Nuggets. I heard D-Mac's discussion with you the other day on your show. By the way, if you don't know us, I'm on 3 to 6 on altitude. Scotty's noon to 3. Come catch the radio shows. We try to talk different things here. And frankly, Scotty and I have different discussions than anything you'd hear on the radio anyway. And we try to do this little podcast once a week. But I feel like I don't believe the Nuggets with Jamal Murray hurting. I don't think they could have beat the Mavericks. I know Barkley said otherwise. I know D-Mac's been lamenting it this week. But Scotty, I just feel like without Jamal being healthy, I don't think I agree that they would have beat the Mavericks. Do you?
Yeah, I think there's a better opportunity. And listen, the Avs, or excuse me, the Mavericks, excuse me, just like the Stars did, they made a couple big moves right in the trade deadline, and really helped their team out. Right? They got better defensively, they got better man to man, and when the Dallas Mavericks struggle, and listen, Minnesota's been a good defensive team all year long, but when Dallas struggles to score, and that's what they did in that game 4. They struggled to score a little bit. They only scored 100 points. Um, you're playing into Minnesota's hands. I said
Right.
this in the series. I said this on the show. All you got to do to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, you've got to score between 108 and 112, and you'll win every game. And if you look at the last two series Minnesota's played, Denver and now Dallas, I think their high game was 107. They
Okay.
won yesterday 106 100. I mean, 106 is where they try to live as an offensive team. And I know it gets more physical, but they needed to be out running. They need to be going fast, playing fast like they did when they won the two games there. And Minnesota can't keep up. They don't have enough scores to keep up with you. Denver got into game seven and they've done that before in game sevens, almost get into scare mode and play it almost too safe. And now all of a sudden you blow a big lead. Um, but yeah, I think they would. I think it would have been a good series. I think they could have been Dallas, but you know this. It is a key. You got to have Jamal Murray healthy, and if he's not healthy, you know your trouble's down. And to be honest with you, if he's not healthy and he's just kind of getting what he's doing, now you can't have Michael Porter go from a 19-point a game score in the regular season to average 9 in the postseason.
Right. Well,
You can't do that. I mean, and not to blame one guy because it's everybody. Murray should have shot better. Gordon could have done more. But to be honest with you, Porter just collapsed in that Minnesota series and didn't have a game.
no, he didn't. No, it's getting nasty. I like it getting nasty. Rupe Hintz and Nick Nurse having a little conversation there. Look, man, to me, when Jamal showed that his leg hurt, he didn't shoot well. And if he wasn't going to shoot well, back to your Jamal shooting well helped it open up for everybody. And I think relaxed everybody. Nobody was relaxed. You and I know it. All I'm trying to say is no point of crying over spilled milk.
No,
It is
his
what it
game.
is.
Here we go. His games 3 and 4 was after 4 days rest, right after they lost those first two games, which he looked dead in and didn't play very good. And then comes 3 and 4. You know, he's got 4 days rest in between 2 and 3, and he played great again. But then once that came on, then it became day game, and you're right. From that standpoint, would he been able to hold up, guarding Kyrie Irving everywhere if they'd have won that series?
Right. And look, they've been going every other day this series because they're trying to get to the dang final. So, by the way, Matt says he turned off the Rockies audio for this, but still is on Oilers and Stars. I'm going to go check in on the Rockies.
They've already lost 3-1.
It's over? It's already over?
I thought I had a notification.
They were winning. It ain't 3-1. You got the wrong notification, kid. They jumped out. It was 7-2 first inning. There's no way it's over.
Oh, okay. Then it's still going.
Yeah, it was.
The Rockies. You know what
Rockies.
that was? It was the soccer game, I bet.
Oh, the Rapids? Okay.
Yeah, the Rapids must have lost. The Rapids play Houston?
Yeah, I think so.
They lost 3-1 to Houston. It was a Rapids score.
There you go. Yeah, we still got folks in the park. Got the game on now. I'm going to flip back and forth. You know what's so funny this time of year? Does it ever bother you that we can't even just get into like just the simplest of baseball discussions in this town? Seriously. It's 7-2 Rockies, still bottom 8. Like, I wouldn't mind just being able to every now and again talk a little bit of just baseball strategy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't love baseball necessarily. Frankly, you know what's funny? In my radio career, Scotty, other than the 1 year I had to do the post-game shows because I was doing my 7 to 10 show, and so my shift shifted to post-game shows during the baseball season. That was the only time I really got in and tried to figure out how do you talk Rockies, and sometimes I had no more than 30, 45 minutes to talk about it anyway. I don't even know how you craft a baseball discussion because I've never really had to in my career. Even with you guys on the zoo, how often were we even trying to craft a baseball discussion?
Well, the first handful of years, it was unbelievable because everybody's just excited to have Rockies. And then, when they moved to Coors Field, right, they finally get to the playoffs pretty quick, and everybody's still excited. And then there was there was a lull when that first year that the June swoon happened, and they went on a 10-game road trip, and they were 1-9 on that road trip. That's when, from that, for the next 4 or 5 years, I'd beg Dave. I said, Dave, we got to quit talking Rockies. They stink.
Well, sometimes, but you know what? At least sometimes, sometimes they were at least exciting enough and middle of the road enough. We could come up with, boy, if they just added this or that, maybe they'd be good. Like they're just, and I realize they're hitting tonight, and for whatever reason, they seem to have Cleveland's number. Although Cleveland kept, hitting the pitching last night, but it is amazing to me. This is a town that has four major sports, and most of my 25-year radio career has been spent ignoring this ball club. And not necessarily, not because you don't even want to get into it, dude, but I got on air. So just so everybody knows, my first year working with you guys as a producer was the fall of 99. And that was after the Jim Leland season, right? And that thing was over. I guess it was Buddy Bell by the time we all got together and we do the opening day shows. But at least there was some Todd Helton and some Larry Walker and Dante Bichette. There was still some fun Rockies to talk about.
Well, I don't even know if you remember. We interviewed Jim Leland on this one. I knew it was over. And Dave said, against the unwritten rule of baseball is blah, blah, blah. And Jesus said, there are no unwritten rules. And he just completely argued the fact. And I'm like, that was the dumbest thing I've heard a manager say. And then you find out he never even rented a place in Denver, and that he was living in his office. That's when you knew, this guy.
I was so
excited to get him. And then all of a sudden, talk about it. That's the thing. McDaniels gets a lot of flack. Well, should. Hackett gets a lot of flack. Well, he should. But dang, I'm not sure Jim Leland wasn't maybe the worst of them all when he was here coaching the Nuggets, or excuse me, the Rockies.
I was told that Jim Leland hated the park so much after a month in, everybody knew. I think there were some that were surprised he even made it through the year. But you're getting paid too good. What are you going to do?
Well, I think he tried to get himself fired.
Yeah, you're probably right. He was the grumpiest old, now you mention it. He was maybe one of the grumpiest coaches I've ever covered. And I've covered quite a few. He
quit on the team. He quit on the team unbelievably. And no one really called him out because remember he had all that great success in Pittsburgh before he came here. Everybody was excited. Look what he did with a small market in Pittsburgh. And he didn't even give it a chance here. Then he went somewhere else, right?
Florida, and won the World Series.
In Detroit?
Florida.
Was he in
He was
Florida
a Marlin manager. Yes.
He killed Denver.
Yeah. When did the shine come off the thing for the Rockies, do you think? Like, when did the honeymoon end?
What? If we're being honest, probably right around then. And they've
after
had
Leland
side there. Yeah. I mean, after maybe, what, honestly, when they broke up Blake Street Bombers and decided we need pitching and quit all this home run stuff, let's put a humidor in the building. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're winning 60 games a year at home, 56. All you got to do is win 20 or 30 on the road, and you can make the postseason. And they put a humidor in, and all of a sudden they haven't hit in Denver like they were for a while. I mean, you have to admit, and listen, that was like happy losers. But was there anything more fun than the Blake Street Bomber years?
No, frankly, no. That 2007 was a fun 6 weeks. By the way, Matt, our buddy Matt says Pittsburgh, then Florida for a World Series. Then he went to Detroit and won the World Series there. So, but so we were sandwiched in between two World Series stops with Florida and Detroit. Fantastic.
He quit here.
He did.
I cheered against him after he left here because I liked him. Okay, I always thought he, I liked the Earl Weavers and the Sparky Andersons, and Jim Leland to me was one of those old crusty guys that will sit there and coach and manage. He'll manage the Rockies for 15 years, and he'll bring some respectability to baseball here. And he absolutely dogged it quit.
No, I'm with you. Now you brought up breaking up the Bombers. Yes, it was fun. Even Todd and the Toddlers had their moments where they were fun. When you had John Gray and you had Kyle Freeland or Freeland, Freeland 2 weeks, 2 years? God, it feels like 2 years ago. I guess 2018 is going on 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, 6 years ago? That's ridiculous, dude. They have not been interesting for 6 years. 6 years.
Well, you know what? We're making fun of the Rockies, but has the Broncos been interesting in the last 8 years?
No, I agree, but at least with the Broncos, I don't agree with all their moves, but I understand what I think they're trying to do. I don't know what
this year.
This year. Yeah. But I'm not sure I know what the Rockies have one aging superstar and then just a bunch of. It's like this mix. It's just. Did you see the guy flinch? Did you turn on the Rockies? Someone just hit a foul ball, and one of the dudes at the screen just flinched. He thought the ball was coming. He freaked out like that thing was about to drill him. By the way, it'd been too late. The guy in the blue shirt, right behind Jim Armstrong there, I think it is. That might be Dealin' Doug. That might be Dealin' Doug that flinched. Come on, Dealin' Doug. They're your seats. Anyway.
I have to admit, this is my first look at the Rockies this year. Oh, there's a home.
I'm going back to Stars Oilers. Yeah, I don't know, man. I wish they'd just go back to look. If you're not going to win anything, and to your point, it doesn't feel like they're. I don't know who's going to figure out pitching for 5 guys. You got to. What would you say in modern baseball? How strong's the rotation got to be? At least 3 deep to really compete.
Probably,
4 deep.
But I go back to Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling that one year in Arizona. They won a World Series with 2 starters. And remember, and I think it was a Game 7. Like they each won 2 games. In Game 7, they both pitched. So those were the 2 guys. I think Schilling closed.
Right.
So they basically won a World Series with 2 guys.
Yep,
now,
you're right.
They're 2 Hall of Fame caliber players,
Well, to me, if you're not going to figure out the pitching, and I don't know who ultimately is, then just go back to mash and runs and at least play pro softball. Give me something to watch anyway. I don't need to see you score. Like you said, ever since they brought in the dang humidor, everything's a 3-1, 2-1, 4-2 game. And the Rockies are lucky to have more than one inning of offense.
Everybody else is hitting except for the Rockies. Although on this little stretch here where they're starting to win games, they started hitting a little bit. So,
well, yeah, they're hitting a little bit, and they'll probably continue. The bottom line, like they always seem to have a week or 2 in May where. See, here's my thing, and I said this to Nate. I don't want them to play just good enough for the organization to make up excuses as to why they're not trying to trade guys. Don't act like you've got something cooking here. You don't. You've got Tovar, really. If we're being honest about it, you got Ezekiel Tovar as far as future greatness, and that's it. That is it. Chris Bryant is going to go down as one of the worst. If we loved the Rockies more in this town, Chris Bryant would rival Russ for worst contract in Denver sports history.
I would say he even tops it, to be honest with you.
Well, here's why I say he can't. You got to remember, you cut the $85 million you're paying Russ. Not one of those dollars was earned under. You basically paid him $85 million before the contract kicked in. Not a single dollar of the $85 million dead hit was for any plays on the field. Those last 2 years were played under his old contract. You paid him $85 million to say we screwed up that contract extension. So at least Chris Bryant for his $185 million hit a home run or 2 for you.
Well, not many. I heard you guys talking hitting 170.
Yeah, and he's up to 2 home runs now. Hit 1 last night. But then again, booted a ball and had some other really bad at-bats.
Well, D-Mac said something on our show there, and I don't disagree. You're in a full rebuild. All he's doing is taking at-bats and minutes from a younger guy. You can kind of see whether he can play or not. You got to do everything you can to move him. You're probably going to have to – I mean, you had to eat part of a big salary of a guy who's still an all-star. What are you going to have to do if you move Chris Bryant?
Well, you're going to have to designate him for assignment. You're going to have to DFA him. And if anybody claims him, then you try to work out a trade and pull him back. But you're right. Look, here's the thing, though. As far as it seems to me, they think Chris Bryant's the reason people are going to show up and watch games. They're not ever going to do full rebuild. They're never going to go full young. They should be. They should have already been doing it. If they were going to do that, they should have traded Freeland and then Marquez. I had said 2 years ago they should have traded Marquez. Everyone got big mad at me. And now what? Now you got nothing to show for it. He's got Tommy John.
Yeah, he may never be back.
So it is what it is, man. If you got any, I was asking Nate about this. You got any summer movies?
Let me give you a stat right here that'll impress you.
Impress or depress?
Impress. Well, probably both. Edmonton is 7 seconds away from killing off a penalty. It'll be their 23rd straight penalty kill in the playoffs.
Well, there you go. Dallas has been bad on the power play. They were bad against Colorado, but that is still impressive. And it's funny because there were people. Taylor Skinner, the goalie for Edmonton, was as questioned as much as Georgiev was here at the end of the year. And now Skinner even got switched out during their series last round. And ultimately they put Skinner back in. I can't remember who Edmonton beat to move on. But yeah, they were kind of having some goalie questions. So do you want Rangers or Florida?
Dallas beat Vegas. They beat Vancouver, didn't they?
Vancouver, there you go. You want Rangers or Florida? I'm kind of rooting for the Rangers in that one. I don't normally root New York, but
yeah, I kind of like the Rangers. They're one of the original 7, right? So I don't mind that. Or is it 6 or 7, the original?
Original 6, I believe.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind the Rangers. Yeah, I think the Rangers. I think the Rangers and Edmonton. You have 2 of the greatest uniforms in hockey going against each other.
That'd be an old school series, wouldn't it?
Right. Well, then you can have Messier and Gretzky doing some cross stuff together. That'd be hilarious.
Well, think about it. You've had Gretzky with Henrik Lundqvist is on TNT. Those two would be going at each other. It'd be Lundqvist and Gretzky on the same TNT panel.
And Lundqvist has been a great addition to that panel, don't you think?
Yeah, because I've heard you talk about it. Again, I like to hear from the guys that have to worry about the whole ice. Now, I'm not saying the rest of the guys, Anson Carter and Bissonnette and friends, don't get the whole ice view, but, you know, basically in his studies, Lundqvist had to know something about every single one of the shooters, every single guy on the ice. Do you know what I mean? That's why I think the old linemen and the quarterbacks, we always like to hear from them, you know?
Well, some of his Lundqvist breakdown of what a goalie's going to see, that one shot that was a McKinnon couldn't lift or Nico couldn't lift. I mean, he's explaining it, how you show him this and you take away this, and it's really, you really have no angle, although it looks like you do. I thought that was a brilliant explanation.
You're baiting them. Hey, have you played? I got a couple off sports things, and again, if you're new to this little scenario, this is what we do sometimes. But let's be honest about it. There ain't going to be enough sports in the summer to keep talking about every day. So Scotty and I just have a little fun. Hopefully you do too. Keep commenting. Matt's got a lot going. We had John earlier. Just say hello to us. Have you played a video game lately? I told you. So you and I were planning on doing this last night. You hit me up kind of late. I didn't have my phone near me. I forgot we were doing it because I was playing Call of Duty. So the modern video game.
I haven't, because I always know that after I haven't played it in a year or so, the updates take forever to download.
Okay,
so I haven't.
Let me tell you about that. That's where I'm going. So yesterday I decided I got Modern Warfare 3 over Christmas. I haven't played it yet. I was like, the heck with it. I'll just put it in and you know, we'll do that. So I put it in. I download whatever, as you said. It was a 45-minute download. And I guess I finally get it up and running. I barely get to play the game. It wasn't working quite right. And I asked my son, I go, all right, when is the next? Because the big download comes when they do these new seasons on Call of Duty. So
Right.
yesterday I downloaded it was season 3. I get on today to play a little before I go to work just to try. And all I want to do is play the campaign. I don't even care about the internet stuff anymore. I don't need some 10-year-old telling me I suck at the game. I know I do. Okay. I don't have time to dedicate it to anymore, little man. So have at it. So all I was trying to do is just playing the game that's allegedly on the disc, right? I get on, there's another update because the season 4 thing had to be updated. Like, I feel like all I do is turn on Xbox and watch stuff download, play 2 games, and then, like you said, you wait a month or whatever because you live an adult life now, and you get back there, and there's all I do is watch the damn thing update more than I ever even play the game.
Well, that's the only reason I haven't turned mine on. I got it sitting. Oh, Mama moved it too, so I gotta find it. But yeah, it's the updates. That's why I haven't clicked on there. Listen, we were there for a while. We had a gang. We had a gang of, you know, 6, 7 dudes that played together every night, right? I mean,
All over the country.
we were all communicating, and yeah, we had dudes in Hawaii. I mean, but we had our own little group, and it was a blast. Even if you got teamed up against each other, it was fun to kill each other. Stubby would get so mad at me because I'd camp on him all the time and blowing up with mines and stuff. But we had a blast. But then all of a sudden, now when you go, okay, full internet, and you download the games, you're like, ugh. I say this, and I will say this. I got one game, might have been one of the last games I bought, that I'm so mad at you, was Red Dead
Redemption.
God dang! How long when you had to go cross country on that
Oh.
horse? It'd take you 5 minutes to travel from one city to another city riding that stupid horse.
Trust me, I love the game and I love the graphics. I thought the graphics were great, but I was with you where I was like, oh my gosh, now I got to ride around. Now they did start. They finally created some portals. Another game that's like that I got into is Assassin's Creed. I got pretty far in the Viking one and the Greek one.
Assassin's Creed. I haven't played it for a while. I didn't play. The last one I played was the one right before the pirate ship one, right when they had a lot of ships and stuff. But Assassin's Creed is one of those games you can put the disc in and just have a blast.
Yeah,
right? And you can play it for an hour or so, just playing campaign, and then you forget on the mission or whatever you're supposed to do, and you just basically go around stabbing dudes and stealing from them and seeing if you can get away with not getting caught.
Yeah, well, Matt says Grand Theft Auto is coming out. I never got into Grand Theft Auto. You and I started all this with Halo. Halo was the game.
Yeah.
But then Halo there was 9,000 cheat codes. You couldn't kill anybody. I always like to tell the story about how we brought the original Xbox we would take up to Greeley, and it became known amongst the Bronco players that we had the Xbox in the RV. So I could always ask a few of the guys, hey, come hang out with us, and you could play a little Xbox while you wait to do the interview, and guys would show up. And we do our show from the very front of this RV that was sitting by the practice field, and guys would go in the back where, whatever the bed or whatever, they'd be playing Xbox. I remember one time I was trying to get them to quit the game. We are like, we got to do the interview. The show's going to end. You need you to get off the Xbox and get out there.
Well, when I was staying there, the back bedroom was called Patrick's bedroom.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. But we used to always have a cooler of beer. And so then the guys found out we had beer after that second day up in Greeley, or that second practice up in Greeley, right? These guys come on that thing. Guys, and so we had everybody. Everybody would come in there. I mean, anybody we wanted to get, we could get.
Yeah, Greeley was fun. Greeley was fun. I'm curious, Nick Kosmider wrote the Bronco camp is going to be open and everyone's still going to be able to watch even though the construction's going on. I'm kind of curious how all that's going to work.
Well, they said they weren't going to start construction till the end of camp.
Okay, well, there you go. That's how it's going to work. But
Dallas starting to do the cheapy blast dudes, open net 5-2. Well, we got 2-2 series, boys. This is a series.
Yeah, yeah. So, in the way it should be. Do you think the NBA's got to be hating how much time is going to be between the end of the conference finals and the finals? Hey, real quickly, you got any summer movies? We were talking about summer movies today. Nate was laughing because he said he doesn't attach times a year to move. Like, to me, Jurassic Park, if it's summer, I'm going to watch Jurassic Park. Now, if it's on during the year, I'll watch it whenever, but it's a summer movie. It always reminds me of summer when I see Jurassic Park or Top Gun or any of the Star Wars flicks. I was thinking you and I ought to go see The Fall Guy if it's still out in theaters.
Yeah, I haven't been. I really want to see The Fall Guy, but I like them guys. And I'm not sure. You know what else is going to be? Maybe the new movie, and I think it comes in June. And they're saying it's what's my guy that did Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner.
Oh yeah,
it's his new Western, and they say it's epic. And it's a little bit. I think it's his, answer to now. All of a sudden we've got, Dances with Wolves has got. Here's his last big Western epic.
oh, there you go. I guess. Yeah. How long is it?
Well, I don't even know, but I noticed they're starting to put previews up. I had the warden come watch a preview yesterday. And I just give you one scene. And that's what I love about Westerns. It's over a John Wayne kind of moment. Some cowboy in a pin, says something to Kevin Costner. He goes, "Yeah, you better put that gun away before I use it to pistol whip you." And Costner goes up to him and says, "What'd you say?" Bam! And just smashes him in the mouth and beats him against the wall. That's what I thought you said. Just walks up. I said, okay. That got me. That scene got me right there. I'm in.
I've seen the video. You and the warden can go to that one, and we'll go to Fall Guy. How about that?
Well, let's go to Fall Guy the next day or two.
Well, why don't we get it done? Then we can do a little review. So
yeah. All right. Well, let's go the next. Look at your calendar. Next couple of days we can go.
Yeah, here. Let me look at it. Oh wait, I'm married. Nothing's on it. What do you want to go? You act like I got all sorts of fun crap happening in my life. Come on now.
Good point. Well, here we go. 2-2 series, boys. I'm happy.
All right. Yeah, I am too. Sad Jamie Benn walking out is always something great to see. Hey, real quick, before we get off this thing, what are you predicting tomorrow? Does Dallas get this thing done, or did they mess around too much?
I think they messed around a little bit too much. Doncic going one-on-one in the first half. You had everybody out and in foul trouble, and Doncic just decided to play one-on-one basketball, and that's when Dallas's offense does not work. So maybe they'll learn from that, and maybe Minnesota, is just maybe they're happy they didn't get swept. I mean, almost what Edwards said after the game. So, well, we just want to get this one. Well, are they going to be satisfied or not? I have a feeling it's going to go back to Dallas, but it would not surprise me to see Mavericks win.
Okay, now let me ask you this then. Because this series has been so close, no one's ever won coming down, no one's ever come back fully down 3-0 to win a series. A couple game sevens, including Miami and Boston last year. Boston did force a game 7, but ultimately lost. Would it shock you with as close as these games have been? Because even though Dallas got up 3-0, they were all tight scores at the end of the game. To me, it wouldn't shock me if Minnesota was the first team to actually pull this thing off.
No, and I think they're playing a perfect team to do it. Because, like I said, I thought this was in Game 4. Luka Doncic decides to be one-on-one and just old school. This is what I do, and he goes 6 for 16. They ain't gonna win.
Well, I'm with you. I think it at least goes 6 games now. I think Minnesota has enough life to get this next one, and then probably Dallas handles it at home, but we'll see. So, but again, I will not be surprised if Dallas went and screwed around when they shouldn't have and end up getting it, because again, Luka's knee isn't totally right either. Chuck was talking about that after they won Game 3, where he was saying, Charles Barkley was saying, I wouldn't even bother playing Luka in Game 4 because he needs to rest up. So every game is going to make it a little bit tougher. Just kind of feels like it's Boston's year. By the way, I don't want to hear anything about how easy the Nuggets title was with what Boston has dealt with this year. You better shut up with that.
Yeah, Miami, Cleveland, Indiana. Come on now.
Yeah, get out of here with that. And at least when you talk about what the Nuggets had to do, they had to go through what we're seen as a tough Minnesota team, and at least you had Hall of Famers in their way. At least you had a Durant and a Booker and a LeBron James and an Anthony Davis. You know, I don't, but anyway, they
I'll
won't
bet you
tell
on.
that story. So, all right,
All
tell
right,
everyone good
pick a
night
day.
there,
We're gonna go see Fall Guy.
and then we'll
Hey,
report
Warden, Andy and I are gonna go see Fall Guy in the next week. Shoot,
what she
do
said.
it, do it. Okay.
Yeah, you tell her we are.
Yeah, we're men.
We do what we want, and you'll like it if we're allowed.
I still haven't eaten. I gotta be quiet.
Yeah, you may. Yeah, you better be quiet. Dinner may be a long one. You may be the old McDonald's dinner tonight. All right, that's all for now. We'll talk to everyone next Wednesday.
See you, Matt.